The AFN Late Edition, military and European news and the weather, but first, headline news. Late Edition continues with the AFN Evening News, recorded earlier.
Good evening. 7th Corps soldiers who were part of Operation Desert Storm are now holding positions in Iraq and Kuwait. AFN Specialist Hank Husingfeld is following USARA troops carrying the 7th Corps banner in the Gulf. He talked with their commander, Lieutenant General Frederick, who had nothing but praise for his soldiers in combat.
Magnificent. I've never been more proud in almost 32 years in the Army to have served with any soldiers as I have with these. Their willingness to take the battle to the enemy time after time, in bad weather, sandstorms, in the rain, their heroism, their confidence in each other, their toughness, and their great skill makes heroes of them all. And no matter what is said, written, or shown about what happened here, those things about our soldiers and their great performance in combat and their heroism will be forever and indelibly stamped, I believe, in these desert sands.
Tomorrow night, General Franks talks about how training in Germany paid off in the desert. About 400 members of the 12th Aviation Brigade returned to their home base over the weekend. The returning service members are the first of some 1,200 members of the unit scheduled to arrive in Germany this week. Specialist Diana Dowa talked with some of the pilots of the 12th Aviation Brigade while on assignment in the Gulf.
Army pilots noticed a major difference in navigating by ground in Saudi Arabia. It's not like navigating in Germany, where you have trees and hills for grid coordination references.
With the German terrain, you have the trees, you have a lot of shadows that you can follow. You have a lot of variations in colors, both day and night. And out here, with the heat waves and what have you during the daytime, sometimes it's hard to see a horizon, and it was hard to judge your distance above the ground.
The Army is currently using the AFRTS, or Attitude Heading Reference System, with the Doppler system as a backup. It's the only one like it in Army helicopters today. Although very accurate, the Doppler system tends to stray off grid coordinates. When you're dealing with weapon systems, you want to get as close as possible to the target area. This is where the GPS, or Global Positioning System, helps out.
It's a navigational system set up that would give you 10-digit grid coordinates if you're using the military grid coordinate system. Also will give you lat long coordinates when you're switching over to lat long. It'll tell you where you are. You can put in waypoints telling you where you're going to go. If you have a route, 10 waypoints in there. You can put A, B, C, D, so on, different lat long points in there. In a navigational mode, it'll tell you how far you are from it, which way you need to steer to it, and how to get there, and how much you're getting closer. So it keeps you right on track.
The Army locally purchased the GPS system for the sole purpose of accurate navigation in Saudi Arabia. However, it hasn't been determined yet if the system will be put to use in aircraft in Germany. With the 12th Aviation Brigade in Saudi Arabia, Specialist Diana Dowa, AFN News.
Military officials are cautioning U.S. troops against bringing back unauthorized souvenirs from the Gulf War. Central Command officials say war trophies will be scrutinized by customs officials. We get details from 5th Corps' Lee Ferguson.
Don't worry, this isn't an enemy soldier. It's a 12th Aviation Brigade pilot showing off his favorite war trophy, a uniform found in an abandoned bunker.
There are very few war trophies that we can have, and this is one of them. Having the uniform is kind of neat. I collect a lot of uniforms from a lot of different services from several different countries. There's a supply cabinet there that we got into, and I got some brand new issue stuff. It's Romanian, so I suspect it's from the Soviet bloc country, which is one of their main suppliers.
One I got is fuel foam. We found it outside a bunker that we were reconning in an area that we needed to go to, so it was just laying outside a fried out bunker. Picked it up, brought it back, already checked on it, it's all legal and everything.
Soldiers will have to pass a tough customs inspection before they can bring their captured booty back to Germany.
After you're transported to the area, we'll brief you on what can be taken and what can't be taken and the process that will be going through to get you here to me. Then we'll lead you through an amnesty disposal area where you can take any item that you think can't go on the plane and dispose of that at that time, no questions asked. Then my inspectors will inspect the baggage, and then I stamp it, clear it, and we manifest the people and get them on the planes. As far as war trophies, anything that they found on an Iraqi soldier or anybody else, as far as LCEs, canteens, gas masks they're allowed to take. No weapons as far as knives or guns or anything like that.
Reporting for 5th Corps' Public Affairs Office, this is Lee Ferguson with TV5 for AFN News.
At the height of the Persian Gulf War, the Red Cross had a team of over 100 social workers in the region. Many of them are still there. Their job is to relay messages from family members. From Washington, we get a look at the Red Cross Emergency Communications Network.
More than 3,000 Red Cross stations worldwide, including 23 in the Persian Gulf, are linked with EMERCOM, either by phone or computer. The network routinely relays nearly 1 million messages a year, or roughly 1 every 38 seconds. That pace has doubled since Operation Desert Shield began. More than 120,000 messages have been sent so far in support of the Gulf War. All are categorized as emergencies.
And usually that's interpreted serious illness, death, birth announcements of the immediate family.
Throughout EMERCOM worldwide, nearly 1/5 of the messages request a service member to come home on emergency leave. One of those service members was Captain Mark Gilday, a civil affairs reservist in the Persian Gulf.
I got a message that notified me of the birth of my daughter and that my father was ill and was only expected to live 2 more weeks.
Within half an hour, Captain Gilday received another message that his father had died. That message brought him home. Before this experience, Captain Gilday said he had taken the Red Cross for granted.
I don't think it was fair of me to take them for granted. I think they did an excellent job, and I'm grateful that they were there.
Just the comfort that a service person has that if something does happen at home, I can get a message from that. And I think that's, that in a sense is positive, even though the message sometimes may not be good news.
Most of the messages EMERCOM handles in peacetime are so-called health and welfare messages. Worried family members asking about a service member they haven't heard from in a while. Message traffic was minimized worldwide during Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm, precluding health and welfare messages. But those restrictions have now been lifted for all areas except Central Command. Army Sergeant Jay Field, Washington.
Cloudy, windy weather starts our week. Sergeant Rob Rios has the forecast.
Well, a combination of cloudy skies and gusty northeast winds were keeping temperatures down across much of Europe today. Here's how things look this afternoon as viewed from the weather satellite. You can see a fairly broad shield of moisture covering much of the continent, limiting sunshine. On the other hand, a high pressure pattern which is formed over the northern part of Europe was responsible for a little more sunshine over parts of northern Germany, Benelux, Denmark, and over towards the UK today. Let's take the satellite off and put up the surface map. Here's that area of high pressure I mentioned, generating partly sunny conditions over the northern half of Europe today. On the other hand, this system here was responsible for a little more unsettled weather, a combination of cloudy skies, rain and drizzle, even some isolated thunderstorms forming across Italy today. Additionally, the wind flow circulating around these two systems was dragging quite a bit of cool continental air into the region, and that was keeping temperatures down today. Let's put the numbers up. You can see how temperatures stacked up across Europe today. Again, these are readings at 3 p.m. Highs were generally in the 40s and lower 50s. 60s were still holding out down in Italy today, and I really don't expect much of a change in these temperatures other than possibly a slight cooling trend as we head in towards the middle and latter part of the week. Here in Germany, again, the high of 51, and that was right here in the Frankfurt area. Elsewhere across the country, 45 just northwest in the Cologne-Bonn region, 49 southeast towards Nuremberg, and 47 was certainly popular at 3 p.m. across Germany. And with the exception of far northern Germany, where partly sunny skies prevailed over Garlstadt, it was generally a cloudy, cool, windy day across much of the country, and these conditions will likely return on Tuesday. In fact, here's tomorrow's forecast map. You can see the pattern really doesn't change that much. The easterly wind will keep temperatures down, 40s and 50s, returning to Central Europe and the UK. The heaviest rain will once again stay confined to southern Europe, although a combination of light rain and drizzle is expected over some of the central southern parts of Germany tomorrow, and with increasing clouds, also a chance of light rain across England. So then, let's recap. Let's take one more look at the forecast. Look for generally cloudy skies tomorrow over all but far northern Germany. Partly sunny skies continue across Great Britain, although increasing clouds with a chance of rain will spread over southern England tomorrow. Lows tonight near 40 with highs on Tuesday in the upper 40s and lower 50s. That's my forecast. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Thanks, Rob. In financial news, the U.S. dollar soared higher in European trading. The buck gained 3 fenning against the mark. Let's take a look at tomorrow's military exchange rates.
Hello, I'm Sergeant James Ward. I'm from A Company, 8th and 158th on Wiesbaden Air Base. I'd like to say hello to my wife, Lene, and her friend Gina.
Hello, my name is Sergeant Torrance from 8th 158th in Wiesbaden, West Germany, and I'd like to say hello to Booger. How you doing, Booger?
Hello, my name is Brian Patrick Cheney. I'm from 5th 158 Delta Company, and I want to give a videogram to a high-coat plum tree. How are you doing? I'll be back soon. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name's Specialist Foley. I'm out here cruising around with my commander in beautiful Saudi Arabia. I want to say hi to my girlfriend, Silka, and all the people back home in 92nd Military Police Company and the families. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Specialist Reynoso. I'm from Baumholder, Germany. I'd like to say hi to everybody from 92nd MP Company. Have a good time.
Some say absence makes the heart grow fonder, and some service members returning to their families are finding that's true. Specialist Sherry Casper-Willard reports from the 3rd Armored Division Family Support Center.
Homecomings are being celebrated in many U-Serve communities. After the tears, hugs, and kisses are just a memory, families must begin to rebuild their lives together. For one 3rd Armored Division soldier, that task is one primary on his mind. Sergeant Boyce Harris spent 5 months in the Saudi desert. The chemical specialist with the 22nd Chemical Company, 3rd Armored Division, is thankful to be back in Germany with his wife Linda, and he must be as proud of how his wife held her own during the recent war in the Gulf.
While I was away, she was able to, like say, for us with getting a license. We sort of stayed at each other about driving, you know, before I left. And so she made me proud when she went ahead and got a license, and we got a license taken care of in our apartment.
They, tried to get me to go out more, going to the movies and the theater and bowling and parties and stuff, which I didn't feel the need to go.
Sergeant Harris says he has a new perspective on life, as well as some advice for other soldiers returning from desert duty.
Don't take everything so freely. Don't run too wild. Come back in. Get familiar with the atmosphere that we're in, and don't forget that we are still, in a host nation country.
The couple agreed the war in the Gulf will strengthen their commitment to one another. Both feel confident that together they can make it through the worst of times. At the 3rd Armored Division Support Center in Frankfurt, Specialist Sherry Casper-Willard, AFN News.
March is Red Cross Month, and that organization is recognizing the efforts of its many volunteers. TV5's Doug Rule has more.
Wherever you go with the military, the American Red Cross always seems to be there, providing those services, large and small, that makes a bad situation better.
Depending upon what the community needs is how we respond, because we have, our man force is volunteer, and so therefore the volunteer comes and they provide the services that their community ask of them, and that's the beauty of Red Cross, because we are volunteer.
The volunteers provide a myriad of services, from administrative managers to just a friendly ear. As the reward is not financial and the time is generously donated, the Red Cross likes to take time out to say thanks to all those who made this possible.
Because of the multitude of services that volunteers provide, we like to recognize them and to recognize their efforts and to recognize the public who make it possible, because we rely on voluntary contributions to make it happen. And so it's just recognition of the efforts of so many people helping people. I think it's what it's all about.
Even though Operation Desert Storm is winding down, there is still a need for volunteers on a day-to-day basis or on call for disaster relief. Anyone enter Red Cross chapter. Reporting from Frankfurt's 97th General Hospital, this is Doug Rule, TV5 for AFN News.
In Germany, you won't find many women working in the fire department, let alone heading one. But Frankfurt, for the first time, now has a woman fire chief. Germany's first and only woman fire chief, Karin Oman, was appointed by Frankfurt Airport Authority last month. The Airport Fire Brigade is recognized for having some of Europe's most advanced technology, which has cost around $14 million in the last 10 years. Oman is in command of the 120-member fire force and 23 fire engines. She studied chemical and process engineering at the University of Dortmund and has had extensive training at the Frankfurt City Fire Department.
During the 2-year training period, the trainee changes departments within the fire service every 6 months. One goes through all the stages of fire brigade services, from a basic instruction course to operations officer training.
The Airport Fire Brigade gets called about 5,000 times a year. There are up to 64 takeoffs and landings per hour at Frankfurt International Airport. Officials say there have been no serious accidents in recent years. Every year, the Department of Defense School Systems in Europe sponsors a concert. Dodd picks its best music students to perform. PFC Brad Christensen has the story.
Meet the best of Dodd School's music students. They came together at the annual Honor Band and Choir concert to show off their talents in instrumental and vocal arrangements.
They're doing really well. I've been impressed with their concentration and their ability to just keep working. I mean, we've had 2 long days of rehearsal. These kids have been with us time and time again.
This event gives students credentials to participate in future bands and choirs, among other things.
To me, being here means that I have an opportunity to express myself with a lot of other students who are really the cream of the crop for the arts in playing instruments and singing vocals.
Besides playing and singing with the best, they also had the opportunity to perform in a complete band and a full choir.
Here we have a full section, and so suddenly they can start hearing, if they're instrumentalists, the complete orchestration of a song that they've been wanting to play. And as vocalists, they're suddenly combined together with all these other students.
No one knows what heights these students will reach in the music world. They say they have their sights set high, and this is only the first step of a long ladder, hopefully leading towards success. But for now, they're content to have the chance to entertain Germans and Americans here in Europe. In Bad Kissingen, PFC Brad Christensen, AFN News.
A viewing reminder for basketball fans, AFN TV will broadcast the NIT semifinal game between Oklahoma and Colorado tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. That's our report. As always, we thank you for joining us. Good night.
The AFN Evening News was recorded earlier.